What happens when a single mistake pushes a man to the edge of everything he's worked for? Ron's career is on the line, but an unexpected message from Elon Musk might be his last shot at redemption. Will he rise from the ashes or be consumed by his past? Elon Musk sat in his office staring at the city skyline beyond the tinted glass. Tesla was thriving, record sales, groundbreaking innovations, and a future that seemed unstoppable. But beneath the success, an unsettling question had taken root in his mind. Had Tesla become just another corporation? A place where employees punched in, followed orders, and clocked out without feeling connected to the mission? He prided himself on leading a company that defied tradition, yet the whispers of employee burnout and dissatisfaction had grown louder. Reports spoke of long hours, pressure cooker environments, and managers more focused on numbers than people. It wasn't that Elon feared hard work, he demanded it, but something about the growing disconnect didn't sit right with him. He needed to know the truth, unfiltered and raw. Board meetings and executive reports wouldn't give it to him, only the people on the ground could. But how could he get them to speak freely without the weight of his title looming over them? A bold idea formed. What if he went undercover? What if he walked into a Tesla showroom, not as the CEO, but as a regular guy, just another customer? The thought thrilled him. No formalities, no prepared pitches, just real conversations. As he grabbed a hoodie and cap from the back of his chair, a rare grin crossed his face. It was time to see Tesla through the eyes of those who truly powered it. Elon Musk wasn't the kind of man who did things halfway. If he was going undercover, he'd do it right. He swapped his usual sharp blazer for a plain hoodie, jeans, and sneakers, clothes that made him look like any other tech enthusiast wandering into a Tesla showroom. A baseball cap completed the disguise, shadowing his unmistakable face. His security team wasn't thrilled. "Sir, this isn't necessary," one of them argued. "You can get reports from managers." Elon waved him off. "Managers filter things. I want to hear from the employees themselves." Driving himself to a Tesla showroom in downtown Los Angeles, he felt an unfamiliar thrill. It had been years since he'd walked into one of his own stores as a customer. Would anyone recognize him? Would the employees be honest about their experiences? As he parked and stepped out, he took a deep breath. The showroom buzzed with activity. Sales reps discussing features, customers admiring sleek vehicles, and test drives in progress. This was it. He strolled inside, ready to see Tesla from the ground up. If something was wrong with the company's culture today, he'd find out firsthand. Elon wandered through the showroom, pausing to admire a gleaming Tesla Model S. A young sales rep, Jake, approached him with a polite but tired smile. "Looking for something specific?" Jake asked, barely glancing up from his tablet. Elon shrugged. "Just checking things out. What's the best Tesla on the market right now?" Jake sighed. "Well, the Model S Plaid is the fastest, but if you're looking for affordability, maybe a Model 3. His tone lacked enthusiasm. Elon raised an eyebrow. "You don't sound too excited about it." Jake chuckled bitterly. "Look, buddy, I'll be honest. Management here? They don't care about us. Quotas keep rising, commissions keep shrinking. Half of us are looking for other jobs." Elon nodded slowly, absorbing the unfiltered truth. This was exactly what he had come to learn. Just as Elon was about to ask Jake more questions, a sharp voice cut through the showroom. "Jake, what are you doing?" A tall, broad-shouldered man in a navy suit strode toward them, his polished shoes clicking against the tile. His name tag read, "Ron Davidson, Sales Manager." His expression was one of pure irritation. Jake straightened. "Just helping a customer, sir." Ron barely spared Elon a glance. Helping? Or wasting time on someone who clearly isn't buying? He turned to Elon. "Sir, if you're just browsing, we have limited space for loitering. Serious buyers only." Elon's eyebrows lifted. "And how do you determine who's serious?" Ron smirked. "Experience, and trust me, you don't look like someone ready to make a purchase." Jake shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I was just answering his questions." Ron cut him off. "Get back to work. And you," he said, eyeing Elon. "Unless you have proof of funds, I suggest you leave." Elon held back a grin. This was the exact arrogance that needed fixing. Instead of arguing, he simply nodded and walked toward the exit. Unbelievable, Jake muttered under his breath. Ron clapped him on the back. You'll learn, kid. Time wasters don't deserve our attention. Little did he know he had just dismissed the man who would soon be his boss. Elon stepped outside the dealership, taking a deep breath. He wasn't angry. If anything, he was amused. The arrogance, the dismissiveness, the narrow-minded judgment. It was everything wrong with leadership in a business like this. And it was about to change. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Within seconds, a voice answered. Elon, how's the visit going? It's exactly as expected, he replied, glancing back at the dealership through the glass windows. He could see Ron still lecturing Jake inside. The manager just kicked me out. A chuckle came from the other end. Figures, want me to make the calls? Yeah, Elon said, his lips curling into a smirk. By tomorrow morning, I want the paperwork finalized. Make sure the staff gets the memo, except the manager. I want to see his reaction firsthand. Understood. Consider it done. Elon ended the call and put his phone away. This was going to be interesting. By this time tomorrow, he wouldn't just be a dismissed customer. He would be the owner. Inside the dealership, Ron continued his usual routine, unaware of the storm brewing. He strutted around, barking orders at employees and making sure everyone knew who was in charge. Jake, still reeling from the earlier incident, sat at his desk, shaking his head. You really shouldn't have treated that guy like that, he muttered under his breath. Ron scoffed. Please. I can spot a nobody from a mile away. He looked like some tech geek with too much time on his hands. Jake sighed, deciding not to argue. He knew Ron wouldn't listen. Meanwhile, Elon had already left the premises, but his mind was racing with ideas. Tomorrow, everything would change. And the man who had just dismissed him like an ordinary customer? He was in for the biggest shock of his life. The next morning, the dealership was buzzing with its usual routine. Salesmen preparing pitches, mechanics working in the service bay, and customers wandering through the showroom. Ron sat in his office, sipping his coffee, feeling satisfied with another day of business. Then, Jake's voice echoed through the dealership. Ron? You need to see this. Annoyed at the interruption, Ron stomped out of his office and found several employees gathered around a television. The local news station was airing a breaking story. The headline read, Elon Musk acquires local car dealership in surprise move. Ron's coffee nearly slipped from his hand. What? He muttered. The news anchor continued, in an unexpected business maneuver, billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk has officially purchased Prestige Motors. Sources say the deal was finalized overnight, and Musk is expected to visit the dealership today. Gasps spread through the showroom. Employees exchanged bewildered glances. Ron's face turned pale. Jake grinned, shaking his head in disbelief. I told you, Ron. You had no idea who you were talking to. Before Ron could even process what was happening, a sleek Tesla Model X pulled into the dealership's front lot. The employees, still in shock, turned to watch as the doors opened. Elon Musk had arrived. The front door of Prestige Motors swung open, and Ron stood frozen as Elon Musk in his signature black suit stepped inside. His confident stride and commanding presence made it clear this was no ordinary visit. Every employee stared, wide-eyed, as he made his way to the center of the showroom. Good morning, Musk said, his voice calm but carrying an air of authority. I'm sure you're all wondering what's happening. Ron, still in shock, managed to speak. Mr. Musk, I don't understand. You just... Musk raised his hand, cutting him off with a smirk. I'm here to make some changes. First and foremost, I don't need people like you running this place. His gaze locked with Ron's, a clear message in his eyes. You're out. The room was silent, the tension palpable. Ron felt the floor drop beneath him, the weight of his own mistakes sinking in. His pride, his arrogance, all of it had led to this moment. Musk turned to the employees who stood nervously at their posts. I'm not here to disrupt your lives. I'm here to improve this place, make it innovative, and make it better than ever. But first, Ron's position is no longer required. The employees exchanged glances, some hesitant, others relieved. As Musk began outlining his vision for the dealership, Ron realized his time at Prestige Motors was over. The world he had built was crashing down, replaced by something far bigger than he could ever have imagined. Ron's departure from Prestige Motors sent ripples through the business world. Within hours, the news spread across social media, and whispers began circulating among local competitors. The once renowned dealership, now under the ownership of Elon Musk, was poised for an unprecedented transformation. For Ron, the shock was almost too much to bear. He sat in the dimly lit office of his small apartment, the phone buzzing with calls from former associates, many offering their sympathies while some expressed their disbelief. The weight of failure bore down on him harder than any corporate setback he had ever faced. Meanwhile, the employees at Prestige Motors began to adjust to the new atmosphere. The air was filled with anticipation. Musk's reputation for innovation and risk-taking was already making its mark even before the official changes began. Every worker could feel it, a shift that promised both opportunity and upheaval. As Ron scrolled through news articles about Musk's plans, he realized just how far behind he had fallen. The world was changing, and in his arrogance, he had refused to keep up. The dealership, now a symbol of Musk's vision, was no longer the empire he had built. It was a new era, one that left Ron behind in the dust. Ron's mind was in turmoil as he sat in the quiet of his apartment, reflecting on the devastating turn of events. He couldn't escape the constant thoughts of what had gone wrong, of the day he kicked Baron Trump out without a second thought. That decision had cost him everything. But deep down, he knew it was more than just that. It was his refusal to change, to adapt, that had sealed his fate. The phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from a former colleague. "Musk wants to meet you." Ron's heart raced. Was this his chance to make amends? Could he salvage anything from the wreckage of his career? The meeting loomed ahead, full of uncertainty and possibilities. But one thing was clear. Ron had to face his mistakes head-on, and for the first time, he was ready to do so. This moment, he realized, could be the start of something new,